Hey gang, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good day out there today. Welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and much appreciate you guys checking today's video out. Today's topic is wind. We're going to have a little conversation on just the basic fundamentals of wind and what it does to fish and what you can do to take advantage of it, and how much it plays a role in fishing. So right off the bat, I'll tell you guys, wind is huge in fishing. Wind has a lot to do with the mood and the personality of the fish you're catching. Here's one of the things that you will find out is that wind has the degree of which wind helps or actually hurts you in fishing has to do with the water temperature and the water clarity. And throughout the channel here, guys, moving forward in the future, you're going to hear me talking a lot about water clarity and water temperature because it has such a huge impact on what fish do. So here's the basic rule of thumb without going into an hour-long seminar on this. I'll sort of give you guys a foundation. The warmer and the clearer the water, for the most part, the more that helps out as far as with wind, a moderate to heavy wind. It's like if you've got some fairly clean water and warm water, you really need wind to get those fish to bite much at all, unless you're fishing like really deep. Now, as far as how much wind, a lot of it has to do with the water temperature and the water clarity. As the water starts to lose the clarity, not actually get dirty, but as actually starts to lose the clarity, the wind speed doesn't have as much to do with it. So, in other words, let's say, for example, if you're fishing a body of water that has over 4 foot of clarity in it, considered clear water, I like a wind of like 10 to 15 miles an hour because it breaks up the surface, makes the fish feel a little bit more secure, and it just makes them active. Now, this is true as long as the water temperature is like over 50 degrees. If the water temperature gets below 50 degrees, wind actually can hurt you. So there's a lot of ins and outs to this wind, but I'm trying to explain this in just a real fundamental sense. So anything over 50 degrees, clear water, you want like a 10 to 15, maybe 20 mile an hour wind is a real good thing. Now, as you get more into the water clarity of like, say, 2 to 3 feet, which is, there's more 2 to 3 foot clarity in most of the lakes across the country than any type of clarity. Like a 10 mile an hour wind is really good. Just a 10 mile an hour breeze. Again, the water's a little bit off-colored, so the fish are going to be a little comfortable as it is just in the off-colored water, and the wind will make them, a lot more active there. And if you get into water visibility of like dirty water, like water visibility of under a foot, personally, I don't think wind that makes that much of a difference. And if it is blowing, I like a light wind, just enough to put a little ripple up on the surface there. But one of the things that you're going to find in fishing also, guys, is that throughout the day, there are windows throughout the day where the fish feed. And a lot of times you can have like, you'll maybe start off in the morning and up until 12 o'clock or so, the wind's not blowing, and then the wind picks up a little bit in the afternoon and the fish start biting. It's just a positive thing. Wind is a really good thing to help fish bite. Now, another thing that I'll give you guys as far as a little tip here, in my own personal experience, I like to fish with the wind. A lot of people, they prefer to cast into the wind, but it's been my experience that I catch more fish casting with the wind or casting at a 45-degree angle to the wind. I just think that your bait lays a little bit more natural. If you're in a boat, you can have a little bit more quiet presentation because you're not on the trolling motor as much. So from that standpoint, I always try to drift with the wind, and I try to stay off my trolling motor as much as possible and let the wind drift me. That seems to add up to a few more bites there. But anyway, we'll do a lot more stuff on wind in the future. I just wanted to give you guys sort of just a foundation if you don't know much about it. But just to reiterate, guys, I just want to say the warmer and the clearer the water, the windier days are going to be better for you, and the dirtier, the colder the water, the lighter winds are going to be better. And then in between that is like, from one extreme to another, that's going to be just, incremental with that. So in other words, if you've got 5 foot of clarity in your lake and I like a 20 mile an hour wind, then maybe if I've got 2 foot of clarity in the lake, I like a 10 mile an hour wind. It's sort of like, it's not a science, but that's what I found out to be true with it. So Anyway, guys, if you fish much at all, you're going to have to deal with wind. Wind is just something we all have to live with, and it has a huge influence on the fish. And we'll do a lot more stuff on it moving forward, because it's something that you definitely need to know about. So, anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. We'll talk later.